Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 Spoilers channel. Victoria and Jack attempt to step in and help Billy. This is your recap for The Young and the Restless Thursday, September 18th, 2025 episode. On The Young and the Restless, Esther Valentine is aware of Lily's and everyone else's greatest secrets. What they order for coffee. Picture, CBS. Mariah and Daniel met at night in the park. Tessa is unaware of their encounter, he reassured her. Daniel assured Mariah that he would never pass judgment on anyone again. He was curious about her condition. According to Mariah, it's a loaded question at the moment. Daniel claimed that Tessa had not given him many details regarding Mariah's dispute. "I'm a mess," Mariah remarked, half laughing. "Everyone is sorry." Mariah complained that she had no answers, and that everyone was staring at her with a look that screamed, "Who is this crazy person?" Daniel said that talking to Tessa about what's happening would be a wise first move. That would be too much for them both, according to Mariah. Mariah was informed by Daniel that Tessa was experiencing heartbreak. Mariah inquired about Tessa's health. Mariah might ask Tessa herself, Daniel remarked slyly. Mariah claimed she was unable to. Mariah stated that she needed Daniel to understand that she disliked the current state of affairs. Her only concern was the well-being of Arya and Tessa. According to Daniel, they were doing fine aside from how much they missed Mariah. Mariah was asked by Daniel why she had contacted him. Daniel may be Tessa's best buddy at the moment, according to Mariah. Mariah observed that Daniel and Tessa share a bond. Daniel mentioned how unique Tessa was. They converse, he added, and Tessa treats Mariah with a great deal of respect. "She ought to be yelling at me," Mariah observed. Mariah went on to say she is unable to explain Tessa's departure. She requested a favor from Daniel. Mariah responded, "Please take care of my wife. Just take care of her and Arya. Verify that they are both okay." Daniel pleaded with her not to do anything foolish and inquired if she was going anywhere. Mariah indicated that for the time being, taking a step back was the wisest course of action. According to Daniel, Mariah's attempt to seek assistance was a wise first move. Tessa wanted to make things right, but Mariah warned that no one could undo what had gone wrong. Mariah stated she had to leave for a little while. She was seeking Daniel for assistance. Because of this, one day, Mariah prayed, she will make it all right with Tessa. She was glad Daniel would take care of Tessa. She owed him nothing, he assured her. Daniel claimed to have seen Cassie in a flash. He pondered what counsel Cassie might currently give her twin. Given that Mariah looked exactly like Cassie, Daniel admitted that it was strange for him to speak with her. Mariah stated that she did not hold Daniel responsible for Cassie's death in the accident. Daniel answered, "But she's not here and I am." Cassie would understand Mariah, Daniel added. He believed that Mariah needs to let Tessa into her heart. Because Cassie wouldn't do the things that Mariah had done, Mariah claimed she wasn't like Cassie. Mariah refused to go into too much detail when Daniel asked her for details. While she was abroad, Daniel encouraged Mariah to recover. She thanked him, gave him a hug, and turned to leave. Diane and Jack, meanwhile, summarized Sally's situation. Jack claimed that he was more upset than saddened that Billy had wasted the chance he had given him. Diane observed that Billy is not thinking clearly and that he has stars in his eyes. Diane questioned the veracity of Kane's AI program. She was worried that Billy might spend a lot of time in jail if it were true. Jack posed the question rhetorically. Would Victor do nothing if Billy had a weapon against him? According to Jack's theory, Billy could utilize AI against anybody. That includes Jabot Cosmetics, Diane pointed out. How far Billy would push things, she wondered. When all was said and done, Jack feared that Kane would emerge smelling like a rose and Billy would take the fall. Diane insisted that Jack speak with Billy. Her earlier suggestion to the contrary was incorrect. Billy doesn't listen to anyone, according to Jack. At the moment, he is in bad gambler mode. Diane claimed that if Jack doesn't at least attempt to stop Billy, he will come to regret it. Diane claimed that she was more worried about Jack than Billy. Diane suggested that Jack and Billy have one more conversation. Jack claimed he wouldn't go there by himself, but he did consent to go. After receiving Jack's message, Victoria met him at Society. She informed Jack that with Cole's death, she and Claire can rely on one another. According to Jack, this had nothing to do with Claire and Kyle. Regarding Billy, he requested to meet with her. He informed Victoria that he wanted her assistance in speaking with Billy. Jack gave an explanation of the AI program. Jack inquired about Victoria's knowledge of the AI program based on her response. Victoria dodged the question and kept her knowledge to herself. Billy hurriedly paced his living room. He wants to close this transaction with Kane. Billy reassured himself that all would be well. He was going to restore Abbott Communications and bring Chancellor back to life. Sally would be pleased. Billy assured himself that he would succeed. Esther's ability to recite her favorite coffee drink at Crimson Lights amazed Lily. She questioned whether or not she was predictable. Kane interrupted and completed repeating Lily's other favorite beverage. When Maddie and Charlie were young, Lily recalled that Kane used to buy them cookies. According to Kane, Lily was the most exquisite thing he had ever laid eyes on. Lily informed Kane that she was no longer swayed by his lines. Kane inquired as to Lily's preference that he not return to Genoa City. He wouldn't like her response. She informed him. Kane inquired about Maddie and Charlie. They had admired him, Lily remarked. Kane admitted that he was solely responsible for his own actions. As they were leaving, Esther reminded Daniel to pay for his drink. Lily consented to accompany Kane, but just to clarify a matter. Lily stated that she would neither support nor oppose Maddie and Charlie's conversation with Kane. That was better than nothing. Kane shrugged. "Why are you here?" she asked him once more. "And is this just another scam? Or have you actually abandoned your plans?" Kane couldn't have it both ways, Lily told him. She believed that Kane's life still included Colin. According to Kane, Lily's perception of Kane as being similar to his father was a compliment rather than a negative thing. Lily told Kane that he would lose his family forever if he revealed one more secret. Maddie and Charlie believed that Kane loved Dumas more than he loved them, according to Lily. Her accusation was that he was lying. Maddie and Charlie will question who this vicious man was, Lily remarked. The Kane with whom she fell in love does not exist, she continued. According to Kane, he and Lily were destined to be together. He inquired as to whether she shared his sentiments. Lily predicted that she and Kane would never reconcile. Never was a long time, according to Kane. Lily remarked, "The old Lily and Kane are gone." She thought she might be able to win Charlie and Maddie back. He might always return to life as Dumas in secret, she said. Billy was left feeling irritated as Lily left. Billy asked whether this was an intervention when he met Jack and Victoria at his house. "They just wanted to talk," Jack said. Jack mentioned that he needed to talk to Billy about 2 letters. A&I. Billy guessed that Victor was concerned about him since he sent his daughter to speak with him. Jack claimed to have gone up to Victoria. Billy questioned whether Sally had betrayed him. Jack emphasized that Sally shared Billy's plan with him because she was concerned about him. Victoria expressed her own worries. Billy informed Sally that Jack had resigned from Abbott Communications, and Jack wanted to know why. Billy questioned why that was important. If somebody was seeking an apology, he wanted to know. Billy scolded his brother and his ex, saying, "I didn't ask for you two to be here. And he's returned," Victoria declared. Billy was accused by her of being self-centered and indifferent to the impact on others. Victor was attempting to wreck Billy's life, Billy retorted. Jack claimed that he had come here to dissuade Billy from acting foolishly. Billy declared that he was an expert in his field. He was reclaiming a business that had been taken from him. Jack questioned his younger brother on the value of retaliation. Victoria suggested Billy could do it for the children if he wouldn't compromise for Sally. She was curious about Johnny's and Katie's reactions when they learned of Billy's activities. Billy questioned Jack about the reason he included his ex-wife. Victoria scolded her former partner for gambling once more. "You're in serious trouble," she said. "I see it." She inquired as to if he had once more broken the law for Kane. She questioned Billy's desire for Johnny and Katie to return to see their father in prison. Billy's phone rang at that very moment. On the caller ID, Kane's name appeared. Billy said that Jack and Victoria could take care of themselves while he took the call. Billy answered the phone after they had departed. When could he begin? He asked Kane. Plans had changed, according to Kane. Billy inquired as to the nature of the issue. Billy was, Kane said. He overloaded the situation with controversy. Billy was a wild card, according to Kane. Kane declared that their agreement was nullified. An extended breakdown occurs as Jack and Victoria attempt to intervene on Billy's behalf. Like a slow-burning storm cloud sweeping across Genoa City, the Thursday, September 18th, 2025, episode of The Young and the Restless became thicker until lightning tore through brittle familial bonds. Billy Abbott was at the center of it all. He was a man on the verge of hazardous obsession, and Victoria Newman and Jack Abbott attempted, albeit perhaps too late, to pull him back. The episode's themes of devotion, treachery, memory, and the alluring allure of vengeance permeated every beat. Quieter, but no less compelling subplots involving Mariah, Daniel, Lily, Kane, and Esther woven together the hour's emotional backdrop around this central plotline, further solidifying the idea that nearly every character in Genoa City is entangled in webs that are woven together in part by their own decisions and in part by the shadows of their pasts. The episode's first half focused on Mariah's precarious mental health. She opened her emotions to Daniel at Chancellor Park under the cover of darkness. These were confessions from someone who was collapsing under the weight of fear, remorse, and self-loathing, not the words of a woman planning her next step. Her humor, which came as a half-laugh, revealed a last-ditch effort to avoid hurt. She said, "Everyone's sorry," expressing her intense unease at being pitied, as if sympathy rendered her helpless and deprives her of free will. Daniel acted as a sort of mirror, reflecting Tessa's calm tenacity as well as Cassie's spirit. The terrible loss of Cassie, Mariah's ongoing identity crisis as her twin's shadow, and the unvarnished reality that Mariah was still unable to face the full extent of her mistakes were all woven throughout their chat. Mariah felt that leaving Tessa and Aria was a necessary penance, but Daniel's presence made it clear that leaving love simply causes more pain. Billy's fixation and Mariah's departure were contrasted in the program at that point, since both were running, albeit for different reasons, and both ran the risk of leaving blood in their wake. The dialogue between Diane and Jack, however, served as a sort of prelude to the episode's intervention scene. Not just for Billy, but also for Jack, Diane was afraid. Billy had gone into what Jack called bad gambler mode, which encompassed more than just careless conduct. It denoted addiction, compulsive behavior, and a readiness to risk not just money but also freedom, family, and reputation. Diane's practical side came through when she insisted that Jack attempt to stop Billy. She knew Jack couldn't live with himself if he didn't at least try, but she also knew Billy wouldn't listen. There was clear foreshadowing here. Even if Jack didn't succeed, his endeavor would reverberate through the aftermath, potentially further hurting his relationships, but at least preserving his conscience. Jack's choice to recruit Victoria united two individuals whose lives had been similarly ruined by Billy's carelessness. Tension was high in the society meeting even before Billy showed up. Jack outlined Kane's AI program's risks, portraying it as a threat to both individuals and businesses. Their conversation had an intriguing undertone. Jack wanted to think Victoria was as ignorant as she appeared to be, yet her measured response suggested she was more knowledgeable than she acknowledged. Her quiet raised doubts in Jack's mind, regardless of whether it was due to guilt, allegiance to Victor, or plain caution. Another level of drama was introduced by this deceit. How can Billy be saved if people around him are also avoiding the truth? At first, Esther's recitation of Lily's coffee order made the parallel scene with Lily and Cain at Crimson Lights seem almost deceptively warm. However, the sentimentality swiftly turned into conflict. Lily asked Cain pointed questions that distilled decades of history. Had he truly given up on the flaws that made him who he was, and why was he back? Their conversation reflected the episode's main topic, which contrasts those who battle to break free with those who revert to their old ways. The empty repetition of a long-dead love ballad echoed Cain's claim that Lily was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. As devastating as it was determined, Lily's scathing retort was that the guy she had loved was no longer there. Lily made it plain that she would never again fall for Cain's charms while Billy was being influenced by him. This difference demonstrated how two individuals with comparable injuries could choose different routes, one looking for strength and protecting themselves, the other caught up in the hope of regaining lost authority. The arrival of Jack and Victoria to Billy's house was the episode's high point. Billy sarcastically greeted them, asking, "Is this an intervention?" indicating that his defenses were already extremely strong. This conversation was structured as a duel, with Victoria expressing both wrath and worry in her words, Jack using cool logic and Billy responding with swagger and paranoia. Jack's remark on the two letters A and I had a clear symbolic meaning. It reduced Billy's crisis to a risky fixation with artificial intelligence, which in turn revealed his lack of faith in real human relationships. Like gambling itself, AI was a promise of immediate success that concealed the almost inevitable possibility of failure. When Victoria mentioned their kids, Johnny and Katie, it was a painful statement. Her voice wavered with a mixture of annoyance and grief, illustrating what Billy stood to lose once more. Billy's response, deflecting, blaming, and twisting motives, showed a guy who was so firmly rooted in self-justification that reality had lost its ability to pierce. His actions supported Diane's earlier suspicion that Billy was losing his sense of reason. He was pursuing triumph as an addiction, a means of erasing the shame of his prior failures, rather than as a goal. Victoria's charge hit like a gavel when she named the illness Billy had been denying during the intervention, and she yelled, "You've got it bad!" It was about the addiction to the rush of gambling, whether in business or in life, and had nothing to do with Cain, AI, or retaliation. Billy's paranoia flared up again, and Jack's attempt to keep the conversation about reality failed. His insistence on knowing why Jack involved Victoria demonstrated how rapidly he converted supporters into adversaries, a trait of destructive compulsions. The timing of the phone call that cut them off was brilliant. It was like a bell ringing the alarm when Cain's name appeared on the caller ID. Billy physically and figuratively silenced the voices of reason by dismissing Jack and Victoria and told them to see themselves out. However, the subsequent turn of events, Cain releasing Billy, was tragic and ironic. Billy's downward spiral had become so bad that even Cain, who wasn't much of a scrupulator, thought he was too unstable and too much of a liability. Billy felt alone, embarrassed, and more vulnerable than ever after the man he believed to be his ally mercilessly dumped him. The entire episode was reframed by this moment. Billy had not been reached by Jack or Victoria, but Cain's rejection might, strangely, be successful where love was not. Sometimes the only way to break illusions is to hit rock bottom. The big cliffhanger, though, is whether Billy will use this as a wake-up call or as an indication to step up his game. He still believed in his comeback fantasy, as seen by his final remarks, which expressed his enthusiasm to get started before Cain pulled the plug. That fantasy's demise might spur either development or more devastation. And in Genoa City, the distinction between salvation and ruin is never far. The program had interwoven several themes of suffering, hope, and conflict by the time the credits rolled. Both scenarios had people leaving behind those who cared for them because they believed that distance was the only way to resolve the issue. Mariah going into the night after hugging Daniel was similar to Billy answering Cain's call. Lily's rejection of Cain served as a counterbalance, demonstrating that it is occasionally possible to break free from harmful cycles. Despite their shared worry for Billy, Jack and Victoria left with the sad realization that intervention won't be successful unless the individual wants to be helped. In conclusion, the show that aired on September 18th, 2025, was about more than just an intervention. It dealt with the brittle lines that separate devotion from treachery, the past from the present, and love from obsession. While Jack, Victoria, Mariah, and Lily represented the agonizing reality that witnessing someone else's self-destruction is frequently just as awful as being the one in free fall, Billy's collapse stood as a tragic echo of every gambler who thought they could overcome the odds. Deeper repercussions are now in play. Will Billy's breakdown bring others down with him, or can his loved ones eventually escape his chaos? On weekdays, watch brand new episodes of The Young and The Restless on Paramount Plus and CBS.